Manipulation is not a subtle art. It is a clumsy, forceful act. It is always obvious. The signs are there from the first moment of contact. You feel it before you understand it. A shift in the air, a change in pressure. The manipulator exposes their hand not with their final move, but with their opening gambit. Their intent is never completely hidden. It leaks through their posture, their tone, the rhythm of their speech. A person's behavior betrays their intent, always. You have been trained to ignore these signals. You have been taught to focus on words, on stated reasons, on the surface of social interaction. This training is your vulnerability. To see the truth, you must unlearn it. You must learn to observe the mechanism, not the performance. The truth of an interaction is not in what is said, but in what is done. It is in the physical and psychological space created between two people. That is where power is negotiated. That is where you will find the evidence. The act of manipulation is visible from its inception. The manipulator broadcasts their strategy with their first movement, their first word, their first deliberate pause. The pressure they exert comes before any logical argument. The attempt to control you is established before any formal request is made. Anyone can recognize this. The ability is not a special gift. It is an act of focused attention. It requires one simple, difficult change. You must stop listening to the words and start seeing the actions. The words are a distraction. They are the stage magician's flourishing hand drawing your eye away from the mechanism of the trick. The words are designed to engage your rational mind, to pull you into a debate, to make you justify your position. While you are busy constructing arguments and defending your logic, the manipulator is working on a different level. They are not seeking to convince your mind. They seek to condition your response. They create an environment where agreement is the path of least resistance, and dissent requires a significant expenditure of energy. They shape the emotional and psychological battlefield long before the first shot is fired. They want you tired. They want you uncertain. They want you to crave the simple relief of concession. To see this, you must ignore the content of their speech. Listen to its rhythm. Watch their body. Feel the pressure they apply to the space around you. The manipulation is there. It is always there. You only need to know where to look. This understanding is not new. It is an old knowledge recorded by those who observed human nature not for its beauty, but for its utility. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote of this with cold clarity. Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. The meaning is direct. People prefer to solve a present problem over examining a future one. An immediate discomfort, such as social tension or a prolonged silence, is a more powerful motivator than a distant, abstract threat. A person who offers a quick, simple path to resolve that immediate discomfort, even a deceptive one, will find willing followers. The manipulator does not need to be a genius. They only need to understand that you desire simplicity and fear complication. They offer you an easy way out of the tension they themselves have created. Your desire for relief makes you a willing participant in your own deception. The deception is a transaction. They offer comfort. You provide compliance. This transaction has clear, observable signatures. These are not secret codes. They are fundamental components of human interaction, repurposed for control. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. They will appear in your professional life, your personal relationships, and in the quiet moments you previously dismissed as insignificant. The first and most common sign, the manipulator changes the tone of voice. The tone is a tool. Observe its function. A voice that was warm, open, and friendly can suddenly become flat, measured, and cool. This shift is not accidental. It is a calibrated action. It occurs immediately after you express a thought, a desire, or a boundary that is not aligned with their objective. The warmth is withdrawn. The emotional connection is severed. You feel the change instantly. It creates a deficit. You were just in a space of mutual comfort, and now you are in a cold, empty one. The unspoken message is clear. Your statement has caused this unpleasant shift. Your action has resulted in the withdrawal of approval. Your natural impulse is to restore the previous equilibrium. You start to question your own statement. You soften your position. You search for words that will bring back the warmth. You are now working to please them. You are adjusting your behavior to manage their emotional state. The power dynamic has inverted. They have done nothing but change the frequency of their voice, and in response, you have begun to negotiate against yourself. The second sign is the deliberate use of silence. The manipulator creates pressure by pausing. This is not the natural pause of a person gathering their thoughts. It is a weaponized silence. It is an active space. It is a vacuum you are compelled to fill. It follows a question they have asked you or a statement you have made. They look at you, expectant, and they wait. 1 second, 2 seconds, 5. The silence becomes heavy. It becomes an accusation. Your mind races to understand its meaning. Did I say something wrong? Is my answer insufficient? Are they displeased? The social discomfort becomes immense. To break it, you start talking. You elaborate. You justify. You reveal information you had no intention of sharing. You over-explain your reasoning, exposing its weaker points. You are trying to fill the void they have created, and in doing so, you surrender information and positioning. They learn what you truly think, what you fear, what you want. They have exerted immense pressure and extracted valuable intelligence without saying a single word. They controlled the frame, and you did all the work for them. The third sign, the manipulator makes you doubt your own mind. They will systematically dismantle your perception of reality. They will question your memory of events. That is not how it happened. You are remembering it incorrectly. I never said that. These statements are delivered with absolute certainty. There is no room for debate. They are presented as objective fact. When confronted with evidence, they will reinterpret it. They will reframe the context. They will accuse you of misunderstanding their intent. The goal is to destabilize your confidence in your own senses and your own memory. If your mind is an unreliable narrator, you must then depend on an external source for truth. They position themselves as that source. Over time, you begin to second-guess your own recollections. You start to believe their version of events, not because it is true, but because it is consistent and delivered with unwavering authority. This is not a simple disagreement. It is a strategic erosion of your autonomy. By controlling your perception of the past, they gain significant control over your decisions in the present. The fourth sign is the transfer of responsibility. A manipulator will never accept accountability for their negative actions or their consequences. The fault will always be externalized. It will be your fault. It will be the fault of the circumstances. It will be the fault of someone else not present. I only reacted that way because you pushed me. This project failed because I was not given the proper support. You're too sensitive. That's the real problem. Notice the structure. The focus is immediately shifted away from their action and onto your reaction or another external factor. They are the perpetual victim of conditions, never the agent of their own choices. This serves two purposes. First, it preserves their self-image as someone who is blameless and righteous. Second, it conditions you to accept blame. When you are repeatedly assigned responsibility for their failures or their emotional states, you begin to internalize it. You become more cautious. You start to modify your behavior to avoid causing a negative reaction in them. You are, once again, managing their life for them. You have accepted the burden of their choices. Write in the comments, have you noticed such actions in people? The fifth sign is the constant avoidance of direct answers. You will ask a clear, simple question. You will receive a response that is complex, vague, or tangential. You ask, did you complete the report you promised by today? They will not say yes or no. They will say, I have been working under an immense amount of pressure lately, and the data you gave me was more complicated than we initially thought. We need to have a larger conversation about workflow. The original question is never answered. Instead, they have pivoted. They have changed the subject from their specific failure to a general critique of the process or even of you. They bury a simple answer under a cloud of words. This forces you to either drop the issue or to fight through the verbal fog to try and extract the truth. Most people will choose the former. It is exhausting to hold a manipulator accountable. They are masters of attrition. They will wear you down with circular conversations, with philosophical detours, with emotional appeals. They know that you have a finite amount of energy. They will win not by being right, but by outlasting your will to continue the conversation. The sixth sign is the induction of guilt. Guilt is one of the most powerful tools for control. The manipulator will use it to enforce compliance and punish dissent. They will frame their desires as your obligations. They will interpret your personal needs as acts of selfishness. After everything I have done for you, you cannot do this one small thing for me? This statement is not a request. It is an emotional invoice. It reframes the relationship as a series of transactions in which you are perpetually in their debt. Your refusal to comply is not seen as a valid personal choice, but as a moral failure, a betrayal. They will also use guilt to control your future actions. They might make a grand, unsolicited sacrifice for you. Then, for weeks, months, or even years, that sacrifice will be held over your head. It becomes the justification for all their future demands. By accepting the initial gift, you unknowingly entered into an unwritten contract of perpetual obligation. Any attempt to assert your independence is met with reminders of your debt, triggering feelings of guilt and ungratefulness. They are not giving you a gift, they are making an investment in your future compliance. These signs are not subtle. They are the creaking floorboards and rattling chains of a poorly disguised ghost. They are the mechanics of control laid bare. The only thing that has ever hidden them is your desire not to see them. It is easier to believe the words. It is more comfortable to accept the performance. But the records of human nature show that comfort is the currency of your own subjugation. To be free, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. You must be willing to see what is there. Machiavelli understood that the true motivations of men are rarely what they seem on the surface. He knew that behind stated intentions often lies a deeper, more primal calculus of power and advantage. For the vulgar are always taken by appearances and by the outcome of the event, and in the world there is no one but the vulgar. His point is stark. Most people judge a situation by its surface appearance and its final result. They do not examine the process. They do not question the methods used to achieve the result. If the outcome seems positive or acceptable, they will not look closely at the path taken to get there. The manipulator thrives in this environment. They know that as long as they maintain a plausible facade of friendship, of love, of professional concern, their methods will go unscrutinized. They rely on the fact that you and everyone else are busy looking at the what, so you never stop to analyze the how. They count on you to be part of the vulgar masses, impressed by the show and incurious about the machinery backstage. To break free, you must stop being a member of the audience. You must become a technician. This requires you to see more signs, often disguised as positive or neutral behaviors. Consider the application of emotional pressure. This is different from a simple outburst of anger. It is a sustained and targeted campaign. The manipulator will flood you with their emotions. If they are anxious, their anxiety will fill the room until you feel anxious too. If they are unhappy, they will project that unhappiness until the entire environment is saturated with it. This is not just a person having a bad day. It is an act of atmospheric control. They are making their emotional state your problem. They create an environment so unpleasant that you feel a desperate need to fix it. And the only way to fix it is to give them what they want. You agree to the plan you disliked. You cancel the appointment you wanted to keep. You do it simply to stop the relentless emotional broadcast. You have not been convinced, you have been suffocated into submission. Observe the use of excessive politeness. There is a form of politeness that is not about respect, but about control. It is a rigid, formal, and impenetrable courtesy. It creates distance. It prevents true connection. The manipulator uses this politeness as a shield and a weapon. Their language is impeccably correct. Their manners are flawless. But there is no warmth. There is no flexibility. Any attempt you make to have a genuine, emotional, or spontaneous conversation is met with this wall of perfect propriety. It is disarming. How can you argue with someone who is being so relentlessly polite? How can you accuse them of ill intent when their behavior is, on the surface, beyond reproach? This politeness is a cage. It sets the terms of the interaction so narrowly that you cannot move. You are forced to adopt their formal tone. You are silenced by their perfect etiquette. It is a beautiful, ornate prison for authentic communication. Notice the sudden and dramatic mood swings. A manipulator's emotional state is often a tactic, not a genuine feeling. They can be laughing and joyful with you one moment, and the next, after a minor disagreement, they become sullen, angry, or wounded. The speed of this transition is the key. A genuine emotional response has a ramp-up and a cool-down period. A tactical emotional display can be turned on and off like a switch. The purpose of this is to keep you off balance. It makes you perpetually uncertain and anxious. You begin to walk on eggshells, constantly monitoring their mood and trying to avoid any topic or action that might trigger a negative shift. You live in a state of preemptive compliance. Their unpredictability becomes a powerful, silent form of control over your own behavior. You are not in a relationship with a person. You are in a relationship with a volatile system that you must constantly manage. Look for the requirement to explain yourself. The manipulator will often place you in a position of having to justify your most basic choices, feelings, and beliefs. Why do you feel that way? Explain to me why you want to do that. What is your reasoning for that decision? These questions are not born of genuine curiosity. They are challenges. They are demands for you to build a logical defense for your own autonomy. The underlying premise is that your choices are not valid until they have been inspected and approved by them. It is a subtle but powerful way of establishing a hierarchy. They are the judge, and you are the defendant. The act of constantly having to explain yourself is draining. It teaches you that your own intuition and desires are not sufficient. You learn that every move you make must be backed by a courtroom-ready argument. Eventually, it becomes easier to simply make choices that you know will not require a lengthy and exhausting defense. Finally, recognize the imposition of solutions. When you have a problem, you may go to someone for support or to be heard. A manipulator will not listen. They will immediately provide a solution. Their solution: you should do this. Here is what you need to do. The answer is simple. They are not interested in your process of discovery. They are not interested in empowering you to solve your own problem. They are interested in demonstrating their superior knowledge and in making you dependent on their guidance. By providing the solution, they take ownership of your problem. They become the hero. You become the passive recipient of their wisdom. This creates a debt. It also reinforces the idea that you are incapable of handling your own affairs. They are not helping you. They are creating a dependency. They are teaching you that you need them to navigate your own life. If you've ever felt hidden pressure, please like it. These are not theories. They are observations of mechanics. I understood this fully, not through study, but through a direct encounter. It was a business negotiation. A man wanted to acquire a small company I was advising. We sat in a sterile conference room. He was older, with a reputation for success. He began the meeting not with numbers or terms, but with a story about his own humble beginnings. He spoke of his early struggles, the sacrifices he made. His voice was soft, nostalgic. He was building a narrative of a shared journey, of a common struggle. My clients, the founders of the company, were visibly moved. They saw a kindred spirit. Then he turned to me. He smiled a warm, paternal smile. He did not ask for my analysis. He said, "You are a young man. You see the world in terms of spreadsheets and figures. But this is about legacy. This is about heart. I can see you are smart, but you must feel the human element here." He paused. He held my gaze. In that moment, the manipulation was completely transparent. He had not addressed my points. He had not engaged with my role as an advisor. He had done 3 things in one move. First, he patronized me by calling me a young man, attempting to diminish my authority through age. Second, he framed the discussion as a conflict between cold logic, me, and warm humanity, him, a false dichotomy designed to make any financial argument I made seem heartless and cruel. Third, he offered a piece of faint praise. "I can see you are smart," as a disarming gesture, a small gift to make the subsequent dismissal of my perspective seem less like an attack and more like gentle guidance. He was not speaking to me. He was performing for my clients. He was isolating me from them. He was painting me as the obstacle to a beautiful human story. I did not respond to his words. I did not defend my age or my methods. I let his pause hang in the air for a moment. Then I looked at my clients and said, "The human element he speaks of is best served by securing a future for your employees. Let us look at the section of the offer that details post-acquisition redundancies." I did not enter his frame. I created my own. The spell was broken. The room became cold, and the negotiation began. The manipulation was not hidden. It was the entire substance of his opening statement. He did not want a negotiation. He wanted a surrender. This moment of clarity is something Machiavelli also documented. The instant you see the motive behind the action, the entire performance collapses. The vulgar crowd is always taken by appearances, and the world consists of nothing but the vulgar. This is not a repetition, but a deepening of the previous quote. The first part is about being fooled by appearances. This part is about the world being composed of those who are fooled. This is the manipulator's core belief. They operate on the assumption that everyone around them is part of the vulgar crowd. They believe that you, their family, their colleagues, are incapable of seeing past the surface. This is their great arrogance, but it is also their great vulnerability. The moment you show them that you are not part of the crowd, that you see the mechanism behind the appearance, their power over you evaporates. You cease to be a mark. You become an observer, and no manipulator can operate under direct, informed observation. So how do you protect yourself? The method is not complicated. It does not require aggression or confrontation. It requires a quiet, internal firmness. It is an exercise in stability. First, you must keep your boundaries. A boundary is not a wall. It is a clear line that defines where you end and another person begins. It is the statement of what you will and will not accept. Manipulators are experts at blurring these lines. They will test your boundaries with small intrusions, small requests, small violations. If you allow these, they will escalate. Your defense is to state your boundaries simply, calmly, and without apology. I am not able to do that. I am not comfortable with that. I will not discuss this. You do not need to explain why. You do not need to justify your boundary. The boundary is its own justification. Second, do not make excuses. When you refuse a manipulator's request or challenge their frame, their next move is often to demand a reason. They want you to justify your no. The moment you start justifying, you are back in their game. You are admitting that your no is not sufficient on its own, that it requires validation. Do not offer it. You can repeat your boundary. You can remain silent, or you can redirect. But do not engage in a debate about the validity of your own decision. Your decision is valid because it is yours. Third, do not take other people's expectations as your duty. A manipulator will project their needs and desires onto you and frame them as your responsibilities. I need you to be there. You have to help me. They are converting their emotional state into your job. You must learn to separate their feelings from your obligations. You can have compassion for their struggle without taking ownership of it. Their happiness, their success, their emotional stability, these are their responsibility, not yours. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Fourth, look at intentions, not words. Train yourself to constantly, passively ask the question, what is the purpose of this action? What does this person gain from me feeling this way? Why are they saying this now, in this particular way? When you start analyzing intent, the words become secondary. The emotional charge of the interaction dissipates, and you are left with a simple, mechanical equation of power and desire. You move from being a participant in the drama to being a spectator of the play. Fifth, and most critically, notice the first few seconds of behavior. The initial move is the most honest one. The first shift in tone. The first overly familiar gesture. The first question that is slightly too personal. Your intuition will register these moments as discordant. Do not dismiss that feeling. That feeling is data. It is your internal security system flagging an anomaly. Pay attention to it. The entire strategy of the manipulator is often revealed in that first unguarded moment, before their performance is fully constructed. Write in the comments who you see differently in your life now. If the analysis of human nature is important to you, subscribe. The most important thing is ahead. The entire architecture of manipulation rests on a single point of failure: your awareness. The moment you become a conscious observer of the dynamics at play, the structure collapses. This is the final crucial insight into the nature of control, a truth Machiavelli reserved for the prince, the one who must control and therefore must understand control in others. It is necessary for a prince to have a mind ready to turn itself according to the direction of the winds of fortune and the variations of things. The explanation is this: the master of his own fate is not rigid. He is adaptable. He understands that situations change and that the intentions of others shift. He is not locked into a single emotional response or a fixed belief system. He observes the winds, the shifting tactics and emotional pressures of others, and adjusts his own position not to be blown over, but to use that force for his own purpose. He does not react, he responds. He is not a leaf in the wind. He is the sailor who adjusts the sails. This is the mindset you must adopt. You must see the manipulator's actions not as personal attacks to be endured, but as data to be analyzed and navigated. When you learn to see manipulation, you undergo a fundamental transformation. You do not become cynical or paranoid. You become calm. The emotional chaos that others try to create no longer affects you in the same way. You become more confident. Your decisions are rooted in your own observations and your own will, not in the approval or disapproval of others. You no longer need to justify your existence or your choices. You become harder to control. When you understand the mechanics of pressure, guilt, and doubt, they cease to function on you. You become a poor subject for manipulation because you will not play the game. You become more attentive. You start to see the world with a new clarity. The subtle power dynamics in every meeting, every family gathering, every conversation become visible. You see not just what people are doing, but why they are doing it. You become more stable. Your emotional state is no longer hostage to the moods and demands of those around you. You are anchored in your own perception, your own boundaries. You are the source of your own equilibrium. You are no longer a piece on the board to be moved by another's hand. You are an observer, a player in your own right, seeing the whole game. This is not a dark path. It is a path to clarity. It is the path to true personal sovereignty. If you agree that the manipulations are immediately visible, write "I see" in the comments, like and subscribe so as not to miss the main thing.